Upon hearing the alarm on my phone at 7 a.m., I jumped out of bed, ran downstairs to put the kettle on, then back up again to have a quick shower. I was expecting that it hit the fan just after 8 o'clock, so I wanted to be ready. My wife, Maya, was still sound asleep. We had not arrived home until 4 in the morning after dropping our youngest daughter, Victoria, off at university. Why Maya should be so tired that she was sleeping in, I couldn't fathom, as I had just done all the driving on the 500-mile round trip while she slept most of the way. Maya and I had been married for almost 24 years. We had 3 wonderful children whom I am very proud of, as they had all made it to university. The oldest, Eliza, had graduated last year and was now, in theory, backpacking around the world. Smith was about to start his final year at Oxford. And finally, there was Victoria, whom we had just dropped off at Newcastle. Having had my shower, I rushed back down, made some coffee, and took it back to the bedroom. Here you go, coffee, sleepyhead. God, what time is it? Almost 9, time you shook a leg. Why, we've nothing on for today, she said as she pulled herself into a sitting position so she could drink her coffee. I, in the meantime, slapped 2 suitcases on the bed and began to put my clothes in them. Maya watched me for a few moments before her curiosity got the better of her. What are you doing? What does it look like I'm doing, my love? Let me give you a hint. I'm taking my clothes out of my wardrobe and dresser and putting them into these suitcases. I would call that packing, wouldn't you? Why are you packing? Are you going somewhere? Well, I would have thought that was obvious. Where? Why? Why you sit there and say you don't know why? No, I don't know why. Maya had gone very pale. She had taken me for a fool for many years and did not suspect that I had any idea of what she had been up to behind my back. Maya, what do I do for a living? You run a security company and look after people's security for them, I suppose. I don't really know. You travel around meeting people a lot, but you never talk to me about your work, so I'm not sure. Wouldn't it be more honest of you to say you've never cared what I do? Providing you have had the money to spend, you have never shown the slightest interest in how I acquired it. For all you know, I could be a bank robber. Don't be silly. When we got married, you told me you worked for a big security firm, then you started your own company. I know you work long hours, but you have never told me what you do. Yes, Maya, I do run a security company. When any of our friends or acquaintances asks, I tend to be a bit vague with them. But what I really run is a detective agency. I have 22 freelance detectives who work for me. They all specialize in different fields. Some work on company fraud and do background checks on prospective employees. Some work with the security of computers, and some work on what we like to term domestics. Maya had suddenly turned very pale, and I think I saw her stomach give a couple of lurches. Are you feeling all right, Maya? If you're going to be sick, please make sure you do not make a mess on my clothes. Would you like me to get you a bowl? Don't be stupid. I'm not going to be sick, but I don't know what your job has got to do with your packing. Are you going on a trip that you haven't told me about? I went over to the dresser where my laptop was lying, lifted the screen, and hit the touchpad key. The screen flashed into life with a picture of Maya on her knees naked. A man's D was jammed down her throat. The man's moans of pleasure came out of the speakers. Well, I was bloody sick the first time I saw a film of you behaving like that. Maya was quick and went straight on the attack. What did you expect? You haven't made love to me in years. I had to find satisfaction somewhere. Just because you lost interest in having sex with me, did you think I should give up sex as well? Maya, I stopped making love to you when I found out you were having threesomes with Tony and Greg, the 2 trainers at the health club. Because they were anyone they could get their hands on, I didn't know what you might catch from them. On the subject of those 2, have you heard from Tony lately? Maya didn't reply. She just sat there looking at the screen. You haven't answered me. Have you heard from Tony lately? No, I don't suppose you have. Well, for your information, he was infected with an STD and admitted to an AIDS clinic last month. If I were you, I would go and have some tests done. Maya was openly crying now. You bastard! You knew and said nothing. Nothing about what? Nothing about you? Any guy that takes your fancy? Or nothing about Tony having AIDS? I honestly don't know how long he has been infected, as you haven't seen him for about 3 years. You most likely are safe. But that doesn't mean you haven't picked up something from one of the others you've been screwing. Why didn't you say something? If you had said something when you found out about Tony and Greg, I would have stopped fooling around. What would have been the point? You have been around on me ever since we were married. You surely didn't give a damn about me or my feelings. If I had challenged you, you most likely would have run off with one of your arsehole lovers and left me with the children. No. Once I found out you were sleeping around, I decided to wait until the children had flown the nest and then leave you, you cold-hearted bastard. Do you mean to tell me that you have been planning to leave me the moment our children have left home? Not our children, Maya. Your children. Only Eliza is mine. Smith and Victoria have two different fathers. Don't be so silly. Of course you're their father. I doubt you have any idea which of your lovers fathered them. But you know, DNA is a wonderful science. It can tell who fathered which child. It took my people some time, but I know who their fathers are now and have taken steps to rectify things. This is ridiculous. You are the father to all three of our children. I put my hand up to silence Maya. For God's sake, woman, you have been cheating on me since we first met, both before and since our marriage. For years I worked myself to a frazzle to buy you whatever you wanted. You have taken the piss out of me for years, and in the end I caught you. Stop trying to pretend that you are anything but a liar. Now, from today, you are a single woman. You can screw whoever you like with a clear conscience. At that moment, the phone began to ring. That will be for you, Maya. I'm surprised they haven't rang earlier. Maya glowered at me as she picked up the phone. Then I listened to one side of what I thought was an entertaining conversation. Hello? Yes, it's me. He's doing what? How much for 350,000 pounds? You've got to be bloody kidding. He can't do that, can he? I'm sorry, Dave. I didn't know. He knew? He has just told me he is leaving me. How the hell do I know? He said something about DNA. You tell me how I can stop him. I told you. He's leaving me. Well, you appeared to enjoy yourself enough at the time you two rolled with that. Maya slammed the phone down and started crying again. That was Smith Tucker. He says you're suing him for 350,000 pounds, she mumbled through her tears. That's right. I have fed and clothed his son for 21 years, paid for a private education, and supported him through Oxford. I think he's getting off quite lightly, don't you? But now, I think I want my money back from his real father, and if I'm lucky, it will up his marriage. You are going to destroy his marriage. Haven't you got a conscience? Come off it, Maya. Where do you get off talking about my conscience? Where was your conscience when you him, and where was Tucker's conscience when he was my wife? He chose to you, and that left you pregnant. Now he can pay for the privilege of you. The pair of you chose to let me believe that Smith was mine. I thought he was yours, honestly. You were probably so many guys you didn't know or care who was Smith's father. But I know, and so does Smith now. You told him? How could you do that, you kissad? Of course I told him. He has the right to know who his father is. To tell you the truth, he suspected what kind of woman his mother was. Why do you think he has spent so little time at home since he started university and did not come near here this summer? You've driven him away from me. I'm sorry to have to tell you this, but it was he who didn't want to come here and see you. I tried to make him at least say goodbye, but I should imagine you will see him at the divorce court. My cell phone played its little tune to say I had a text message. I read the message, and then turned back to Maya. Ah, perfect timing. Smith has just informed me that Victoria no longer wishes to know or be in contact with you. Her father will also have got my summons by now. You bastard! You've turned them all against me! Hold on! That message can't be from Smith. He's in New York. You wish. Neither Smith nor Eliza left the country this summer. They have both been staying at my new house. Well, it's Eliza's house, actually. We didn't want your lawyers to be able to try to make any claim on it. The children don't wish to see you anymore. Smith and Eliza were in a car parked behind us. When we left Victoria's lodgings last night, they explained to her what you have been doing and why I am leaving you. Victoria was given the choice of which parent she wanted to go with. It appears she has opted to go along with her siblings. Maya, it looks like you are alone. You can't do that. They're my children. All three of your children have had a completely free choice. They know who has looked after them all their lives, and they know who has spent her time living it up and behaving as a... I'll stop you. You can't take my children away. Your children have had a free choice, Maya, I know I can trust them to make the right decisions. Oh, when you contact your solicitor, tell him that my company actually belongs to Eliza and has for the last few years. No sense in them wasting time and money trying to claim a share in something I don't own, bastard. Maya shouted at me as I left the room with my suitcases. They were the last words I ever heard her say. Maya didn't contest the divorce, and I pay her no maintenance. Smith and Victoria's fathers settled out of court, not for the £350,000 I asked for, but enough to give both of them a good start in life. What happened to the Arsols' marriages is no concern of mine. The children refused to see Maya, and officially, we don't know where she is. One of the staff reported to me that she was charged with prostitution a few months back, but I have managed to keep that from the children. I am marrying my ex-secretary Rose in a few weeks. No, we didn't have anything going between us whilst I was married. When I first found out about what Maya had been up to, it was Jason in whom I confided. She left the firm to have a baby several years ago. While she was still in the hospital after having the child, she found out her husband was shacking up with some tart. Naturally, she turned to me for support. Jason is 11 years younger than I am, but my children encouraged us to go for it. Life goes on.